Blessed love to one and all. Well, just want to come on before, you know, the Most High, and again, with the Almighty, So, give an righteous and praise to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. King Selassie Empress Menen, the first, balance of the earth. Now, there's a few things that's been heavy on my mind, Yeah, on my heaven, And I want to speak specifically to the Rasta, or to the Rastas with an S, to the Rasta community and the Rasta movement, because I've met a few Rastas. Yeah, I've met a few of them, but some of them don't have the sound mind, though them have certain information, they don't have the fullness thereof, So I'm speaking directly to the Rasta man them and to the Rasta woman them, But Rasta is not something whereby is with your ear, And it has nothing to do with your locks, But it's Rasta in your heart, It's what you have in your heart, what you think, how you think, And ones and ones, a lot of Rastas is judgmental also too, They're very, judgmental towards certain things, cause, there's part whereby in the Bible you would find, and that's another thing too. The Bible is I foundation. For His Majesty glory in the Bible, I have to come and glory in the Bible. So a lot of Rastas saying it, them kind of like, dash with the Bible in a sense, So I gotta put some of them don't even, don't even want to use the Bible and so on and so forth. There's plenty of things in there that you can learn and that you can gain wisdom and understanding from in the scriptures. So that's a very important thing, yeah. And I'm familiar with Kemet and all and so on and so forth, that the hieroglyphs, and that's where the Bible has been translated to. That's where the Bible gets its information from ancient Kemet. So I'm aware of all of that because I'm well rounded. I did my researches. I don't know everything, but there's a lot more that I need to learn. Because I see some Rastas talking about Kemet and blah blah blah, and I want to disregard the Bible. Now, our King and God come and glory in the Bible, so who is us to not do the same thing? So I say again, if you don't glory in the Bible as His Majesty, then I don't know what's going to become of that person or how God is going to judge them. So I can't really say anything pertaining to that. But what I will say is that I glory in the Bible, and that's what I use to gain my knowledge, to gain the knowledge of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? To gain the knowledge of the Most High and become one with I Creator. So that's what I use, the Bible. I have the book of Enoch. It's a very, very excellent book, the book of Enoch, because the Bible make reference to it. So that's why I say ones and ones don't read, Don't read with an overstanding, with an open mind, because there's plenty of things in there that the Bible make mention to, make a reference to. You could find that in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 20. Right? It's a very, very short chapter. I think it only has like, 6 or 7 verses. But in the last 2 verses, it talk about Ethiopia is our expectation, right? But Egypt is our glory. You know what I'm saying? So there's plenty of things in there whereby we can learn from and that we can gain from. So, and to the artists, them, and to the artists that come out of Jamaica, This is why His Majesty visit Jamaica. I'm not speaking to all you Rastas. I'm talking to the real Rastas. I'm talking to the real Rastas, them who doing, who doing positive things, who's trying to unite and trying to make an upliftment. Those are the Rastas that are not included. So again, it's the ones them who pretending and making a whole lot of riches and gaining a whole lot of earthly wealth off His Majesty and Her Majesty name, and they're not trying to bring the unity, and they're not trying to bring the oneness and the togetherness, So, So at the end of the day, respect and love and honor to the real Rasta, them who fully understand unity and they're sharing their wealth and they're making sure the poor and the needy, the sick and the lame, and and everybody around them you know what I mean, comfortable, make them good in whichever way that they can. You know what I mean? For faith without works is dead. So man have to produce work. You cannot see your brother naked and destitute in need of food and tell them, oh, be warm and be filled, and you send them away without giving those things that they needed for the body. So that's very important, you know, and I feel like a lot of ones have lost their way again, or they have just backsliding, you know what I mean? Yeah, because, you know, a lot of ones have information, they have knowledge, but it's applying the knowledge and using the knowledge rightly. And again, a lot of Rastas, you know what I mean, the ones them who were not fully overstanding of what's really happening here, you know what I mean? And again, you know, to a lot of you Jamaican artists, you guys want to take you guys want to give up a whole continent for an island. You know what I'm saying? Not for uno, not for uno, me have to speak Jamaican, you know what I mean? Not for uno put Jamaica up on this pedestal whereby like it's greater than Ethiopia. Right? There is nothing, there's nowhere on earth that is greater than Ethiopia or the continent of Africa. So that's one thing that we need to understand, you know what I mean? Because every music, every instrument, every drum, everything that we can think about that's come out of the motherland, Ethiopia, and you know what I mean, Ethiopia is the whole landmass before they changed it to Africa, right? So that's something that we need to understand. And I don't want to make this video too long, you know, but it's very, very important and necessary. It's essential for us to understand where the power, where the power of the source come from, right? So at the end of the day, it's just about understanding, you know, not making war and strife. I'm not here to make any war. I speak things as I see it, you know what I mean? And I've been doing a lot of research and I've seen a lot of things whereby a lot of artists, a lot of so-called Rastas, then just come jump up on this stage and not even talk and reason with the people and give the people them a proper understanding and an insight of who they really are, you know, besides through the music. Because you have to reason with the people them, you have to talk with the people them. That's very important. They just come jump up and look at hype, you know what I mean? So, you know, if a Rasta in your heart, so, you know what I mean, we can wear all of these beads and everything, but if you don't Rasta in your heart, if your heart don't pure and clean, and you don't know the ways of the Most High, you're not keeping His commandments, which is very important, right? Keeping the commandments is very important. So a lot of ones think that the Bible is not really untrue, and they wanna move away from the Bible. Like I said again, I King and God, glory in the Bible. And to them who continue to cause a lot of corruption and strife about His Majesty divinity, well, His Majesty I praise all the while. For I come sight up the King of Kings, it is Him. And guess what? I wasn't in no group, I wasn't in no type of movement or anything of that sort. I'm not a part of Bubba Hill, I'm not a part of Sashamani. Let me Sashamani, I'm not a part of Naya Bingi. And see Sashamani is calling me, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? I'm not a part of any group. I find Rasta through by self-reliance, just through by reading and doing research. That's how I find Rasta. I'm just listening to Bob Marley, you know what I mean? Listening to reggae music. You know what I mean? So that's how come I find out His Majesty, because I've been hearing about His Majesty from a long time. You know what I mean? And His Majesty faces even in the moon, and a lot of Rastas, ones don't even cite that. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? That's what it is about, you know? Love and unity, and you know, right now this is war, you know what I mean? This is war. We at war, and like honestly, I feel like the Rasta community is not prepared. Because beating drum and all of these things, you know what I mean, that's not the only weapon that we're gonna have to use against these demonic forces, against these fallen ones. You know what I mean? Prayer and beating drum is not the only thing. You know, man, I forget organized and centralized. This is why when Eva rise up against His Majesty in Ethiopia, that all of that has been done for a reason. Because if Ethiopia had been conquered, then we wouldn't have been free today, and we're still not free, you know. But His Majesty gave us that that mental thinking, the mental capacity, free our mind. If we, you know what I mean, if free our mind, and from the mind is liberated, then the body automatically is going to be liberated. So, you know, that's what His Majesty did. That's why you find, you know what I mean, places like Ghana and throughout the whole world, you know what I mean, throughout the whole continent of Africa, throughout the whole Caribbean or Caribbean, you know what I'm saying. You find these people get the independence around 19 in the late 1950s into the 1960s. That's when all these other islands and countries and so on and so forth gain the independence. After, you know what I mean, King Selassie defeated the dragon, defeated the enemies. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's very important. That history of overstanding what really took place at the League of Nations, you know what I mean, at the League of Nations, where to do the collective security. If I'm saying that right, the League of Nations. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, you know, it's very important to know the history of the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. You know, so I grateful and I give thanks for this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you know, for, you know, and I reading, you know, especially in the Bible, and a lot of research, you know, I mean, I encourage a lot of Rastas out there that claiming His Majesty but don't understand the fullness thereof, you know what I mean. Do some more, do a lot more reading and a lot more research, because there's a lot here going on, there's a lot more to be learned, you know. So, you know what I mean, anyone who stop from learning and think that they know everything is considered a fool. They consider not knowing nothing at all. So you must continue to learn and expand their mind, you know. Blessed love to one and all, you know. And it's just a little video. I didn't expect it to go this far, but you know, blessed love to one and all, to the Rasta community and everyone out there, you know, and to all the people in the earth, you know. But this is spiritual warfare. It is time that we rise up and recognize that these evil forces destroying the earth. And if they destroy the earth, then where are we and our children, our grandchildren, and the children is going to live? So we have to make a stand now. Now is the time. This is what I say, you know. Some of you musicians need to stop singing, because we have plenty of musicians, like, you know what I mean. We need to put in the groundwork now. You know, talking about a lot of Rastas musicians. We don't need to stop singing, because the message is out there. What we need is the groundwork. We need to see unity, we need to see resources, we need to see money spending and investment in Africa. Because a lot of ones come and they build houses that elsewhere else other than where His Majesty left land for us. So, you know what I mean, I pay attention to all these things, and I'm just speaking. If I had the money, I would have been doing something already. You know, so I'm just a young man, I'm just a poor man, now coming up, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna build, you know what I mean, until God bless me with I earthly riches, and I be able to do the things that I know need to be done. You know, cause, you know, changes start with oneself, you know. That's the only way. When one begin to change the thought and change the thinking, and unfilter the negativity and infilter the positiveness, which is His Majesty way, give us the teachings of His Majesty. We don't want no devil philosophy, you know. Bob, so blessed love, you know. Give thanks and praise to the Most High, King Selassie, the Divine Being. I salute you all my rare brethren and sisters out there, and you don't need to, as Morgan Heritage say, you know, you don't need to be you don't have to have the locks to be a Rasta. You have to Rasta in your heart. But eventually the locks will come, you know what I mean, with the fullness, because eventually you're growing, you know, it's a process, you know. This Rasta thing is not something whereby you just jump into it and say, yeah, I'm a Rasta. It takes growth and maturity, and, you know what I mean, self-confidence, self-awareness, you know what I mean, consistency, you know. So it's very essential. Rasta is the way, Rasta is the future, you know what I mean. But to them who don't fully understand it, I encourage the them, and you know what I mean, and assisting them to do a lot more reading, a lot more research, because there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. Rastafari, preeminent rules. Give an and praise to the King of all kings. Ethiopia govern the whole earth. Every music and every musician come out of Ethiopia. For the whole way is Africa. You know what I mean? And after disclose where I was born, I know I'm an African. or I am an Ethiopian. You know, I was born July 21st, 2 days before His Majesty birthday. You see it? So, yeah, man, we always a lion, you know. That's the way Rastafari always been. Lionheart, Selah.